So Todd, tell us now more about the importance of the concept of positioning. Like, why is a very precise fit, for example, so important to you?
As I sort of mentioned a little bit ago, this whole idea of tight tolerances, margins, etc., that's just absolutely critical in my story because of the idea of independence and because I strive for and actually pride myself in the level of independence that I have. Everything becomes mission critical to stay where it needs to, as far as positioning, etc. Like, for example, I get up in the mornings really, really early, between 4 and 5 a.m. I might not have an assistant look at me or check me maybe till noon or 1. So think of all those things that a quadriplegic might have to deal with or factor in between 6 a.m. and 12. That's a 6-hour period of being left alone. Therefore, the clothes have to be on correct. The position in the wheelchair has to be correct. Even to the point of urine bag placement and catheter placement needs to be absolutely precise and quantified so that I don't have any issues such as a kinked catheter resulting in dysreflexia, etc. I mean, everything is in the name of independence, and in my opinion, it's absolutely critical to my quality in my life.
So could you tell us about a situation?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, comical, slightly. In the process of speccing and putting this wheelchair together, this is some years ago. I commuted every day at that point for about 3 years on the Washington State ferry system from Bainbridge Island to downtown Seattle. And I was in my wheelchair, and I was trying to get off of the ferry onto the docks. And because the wheelchair had not yet been completely dialed in, as I started to go up the ramp, I sort of sunk into my chair, getting further away from the gimbal. And then I couldn't move it anymore.
Oh, it must have been horrible.
It was really horrible because like the 750 ferry boat, there's like 1,100 people behind you, and they're all trying to push on the wheelchair and move it, and I can't talk that loud. And all of a sudden, I hear those, help them, push on them, and nothing was working, and I started to feel really embarrassed. And then I don't know who, but maybe an angel, but somewhere over the crowd of hundreds and hundreds of people, somebody screamed out loud, to push on his head. And so I just remember this big old hand coming behind me and grabbing over my head and pushing me forward. And it was enough to use the gimbal to get up on the ramp, and I just took off. Those are just one of infinite examples of how things are critical.
But it reinforces that proper positioning. It's not just important, it sounds like it's vital to your way of life,
it's
right?
Absolutely vital. Yeah, absolutely. I once had in this current wheelchair, back when it was brand new, the bolt underneath it to lock me into the van had not been fitted yet, so it was too long, and I hit a bump on Western Avenue. Yeah, and you all know Seattle are known for the hills. I hit a bump that broke the breaker switch in the wheelchair, cutting it, so I lost all power. And I had to sit there on Western until the president of the company I was working for and the secretary pushed my wheelchair back up the hills, back into the office, and then I had to wait for a wheelchair rep 7 hours to fix the wheelchair.
Not a good time.
No, not a good time at all.